See, with the whole relationship things too. I have recently realized that I had I had a real issue with understanding how a relationship dynamic had changed. I was thinking back to previous relationships I had, like way back in, that same time period. But I couldn't understand. I was in a relationship with a girl and the dynamic had changed and I couldn't grasp onto it. I remember having such a problem with it and I couldn't understand why, right? Like the dynamic had changed from, just goofing around, whatever, blah, 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 to something of a more serious nature. And when that had changed, it took me forever to finally get into that mode and grasp onto that. And then, we were together for like another year or something, and then the dynamic had changed again. And I had such a hard time grasping onto that, right? Like she had gone back to college. So of course, like her time was, just gone because she was hardcore into, ironically, psychology. Um, but I couldn't grasp onto why our dynamic had changed. And I didn't really think too much about that until, recently. And I was thinking about that, like how thinking about relationships that I've had and where and when they changed and the problems that I had, with relationships with other people and
Yeah.
comparing them to like the social deficits that I go through personally. And it was a lot to take in all at once, right? But you're thinking about this, you have relationships with people and the dynamic of them inevitably changes somehow.
Yeah. Well, you also have to think too. You know, routines. People are routines
Oh
too.
God,
So when, like, if you're in a
yeah,
relationship
they
with
are.
someone, if you're in a romantic relationship with someone, and you're used to a specific dynamic, you're used to a specific routine of how they're behaving and how they're acting and how they express their love and all this other stuff. But then something changes in their life, which then changes their dynamic. It's going to affect us because
Yeah,
the routine has changed.
yep. And
You know,
do not fuck with my routine.
yeah. And the thing
Rule number
is,
one.
that's that's the thing that we have to be aware of as autistic people because that's our problem. You know, if because we cannot impose a routine on a person. You know, we cannot make them behave towards us the same way. You know, that is unrealistic because
Yeah,
life happens, right? Like, you know,
yeah,
something is going to happen that they're going to change their behaviors. Um, and so we have to be aware of that. So we have to learn how to self soothe when things like that, and learn how to communicate. You know, like, hey, I'm struggling because like I know you're going through a lot, and like the routine has changed or whatever. Like, be open and honest. You know, of those things, and like I can see in my past those things happening where like I'm in a relationship and then something changes in that relationship and that affects me because the routine changed and so I behaved in a certain way that wasn't really healthy. you
yeah.
know
Oh no, I'll agree with that. I will absolutely agree with that.
um
I that was all part of the piling on thoughts, right? It's like, oh God,
yeah.
okay, so that's where okay, oh God, that's why, oh Jesus, that's why, yeah, putting that all together and realizing, well, okay, this makes sense. It sucked, but I see why it happened.
Yep.
I did not handle that very well, did I? No, no, I did not.
Ooh. Like, just looking back at some things, it's like you kind of wish that you can like like some people be like, hey, like I know you experienced this version of me and I'm just sorry. like, I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you
Uh,
experienced,
I actually did that to one or two people. Yeah, something like that. I pop onto Facebook every now and again, like once or
yeah.
twice a month kind of thing. But it was, yeah, I came across an old friend of mine, and I'm like, here's a little update.
Yeah, like
Sorry,
I've considered doing
I
that.
was a douche.
Yeah, I've considered doing that, but like those are always like one hit or miss too, because you never know if the person uh really cares.
Hmm. Or
You know,
understands,
yeah,
or believes you, or even cares, like you said.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
even remembers you.
yeah,
I'm sorry, who's this? Never mind. Don't worry about me. I'll just sit over here and go fuck myself. It's all good.
yeah. It's one of those things. You know, that is part of existence. That's part of life. You know.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think it's a very unique perspective of the late diagnosed, right? Like there are plenty of people. I'm sure everyone has something like that, but when it comes to being undiagnosed, I think there's a whole other layer behind it because like I didn't know. I didn't know why I did certain things. I just did it.
Yeah. I
And
think a lot of that comes with self discovery and understanding, though,
yeah,
right? Being going through the whole process of unpacking your entire life and going, okay, this is why I did these things,
yeah,
and understanding how your brain handles, different situations, etc., etc., and just accepting that, understanding that this is a part of you, and trying to deal with that the best way that you can, trying to, you know I don't want to say fix yourself, but trying to, to know how to apply techniques and tricks and shit like that, like life hacks and whatnot, to
yeah,
better interact with others, to better handle a situation, right? Like, in my case, going out of the house, if I have to go to the Walmart, I got my loops in my pocket, right? Shameless plug, but yeah, true story. I got two pair of loops on me at all times,
yeah.
right? If I'm not wearing these, just
I use Raycons.
yep.
Uh,
There you go. See, but it's something that you have incorporated to part of your routine, I'm sure, whenever you
yep,
leave the house.
yep.
Yep. Same with
And
me.
whenever I forget them, I'm like, fuck.